Okay, I've had a lot of people ask me how I do my meal prep, so I thought I'd just kind of show you what I do. It's really pretty simple, but when I first started, meal prep and menu planning was like my biggest fear. I hated it. I still hate it a little bit, but it's getting easier the more I do it. So the first thing you want to do really is to try and at least come up with a menu of things that you want to eat for the week. So this is the first menu I made, and it's the last menu I've ever made because I hate it. But it actually helped me get prepared, and it helped me create a shopping list, and it helped me to get a variety of things that I knew I could eat on the plan. So I went to Pinterest and I printed off stuff from Pinterest to help me write it out. So all this stuff they're free printables on Pinterest. I use these weekly. I track my measurements weekly. So Pinterest is a good start. It will give you a lot of good tips as well. So I created my menu. I ticked off all of my, greens, purples, reds, blues, whatever, so that I knew my day was planned out and I would have all my containers. I didn't ever stick to what I actually wrote on the menu because I am very much go to the fridge and see what sounds good. So for me to actually just prep a meal and put a meal together is not very practical for me. So when I meal prep to keep a variety in my options. So we always barbecue meat every week. That's how I prefer to eat meat if I'm going to eat it. So my husband's in charge of barbecue. So we'll barbecue steak and chicken and salmon, pork chops, whatever we feel like for the week. Sometimes we do all of it and just do a few of each so that we have options. And then we can make tacos or put them on salads or just eat it plain. And when we barbecue, we always portion it out and put them in baggies. That way we can just grab it, we can eat it and go. The steak, we'll usually cut it up in strips so we can put it in tacos or fajitas or something, and we just always measure with our containers first and just throw it in a baggie. And then I like to just stick them in a container like this and stick them in my fridge, in the middle of my fridge. That way it keeps them together, and I usually have 2 of these in my fridge, one for fruit and veggies and one for meat. And then we have enough throughout the week to kind of do what we want with it. So it's not limited to just having one certain kind of meat or, whatever. So that's kind of what we do with our meat section. If you don't like barbecue or you don't have a barbecue, you can do other things. We've done like Costco rotisserie chickens and just shred it and portion it out. This is a good option. It's just turkey. It's already done. You just cut it up. You can make it with sandwiches, put it on salads, whatever. So there's lots of different options you can do with that. The other thing with meal prep is it's going to depend on how you live. If you're home all day long, you might not need to prepare as much as someone who's at work. So for me, I work early morning. So I have to pack my breakfast. So every Sunday, we usually meal prep Sunday night because that's when my husband's home, but I always cook oatmeal for the week. These are my favorite. You get it at Costco. Costco is your best friend. You will find everything you need and more at Costco. And it's great because it's bulk and you won't be going to the store all the time. So I always make oatmeal for my breakfast, portion it out, and I stick them in small containers, and I usually have 7 or 8 of these in my fridge after I do my prep, so I can grab it and just throw it in my lunchbox. I always put fresh berries on my oatmeal to give it flavor. So to do fresh fruit, it's kind of tricky because you don't want to cut it all up because it will go bad fast. So in order to prep my berries, that's really the only ones I do prep. Is strawberries. I usually do strawberries and raspberries. And what I do is I'll cut the strawberry tops off. I don't cut them up into pieces. I just cut the top off. And then I sanitize my sink, and I'll fill it with water, warm water on both sides. And on one side I do just distilled vinegar, like a cup of it. I don't really measure, I just kind of pour it in there. And then I always cut a lemon and squeeze the lemon juice in it. And when you do that, I just throw my berries in, let it sit for a few seconds, and then throw it in the other sink. What are you doing? Sorry, my husband's recording. He's a weirdo. Anyway, and then I just rinse off. I rinse off the mixture and then let them dry out on the counter. Once they're dry, then I measure them out in my purple containers and I put them in baggies. Usually they stay great all week long, and then I just cut up my strawberries as I need them when I eat them. But that makes it easy that I can grab it and walk out the door. Another thing I always have is I always buy 2 packages of eggs, one that I can use to cook and the other I boil, and do a whole carton of boiled eggs to get some protein in the morning too, because those are easy to grab and go as well. The other thing, as far as vegetables go, to prep veggies, you can do as much or as little as you want. Like with raw veggies, I don't usually portion them out as much because I usually cook my vegetables, but we always do a huge pot of vegetables. I always cook more than what I would actually eat for the day. So I do as big of a pot as I can, and then I portion it out. And for me, because I have to eat so many vegetables, I always do 2 vegetables in one like Tupperware, and then I know if I grab that, that's 2 veggies. But you can steam whatever vegetables, you can prepare them however you want, you can roast them, do them raw, whatever. But I always like to have some cooked vegetables in there because it just makes it easier for me. Then, as far as, what else do I got on here? Another thing that we always prep is we always do corn on the cob for one of our carbs. So I'll pre-cook all the corn, so it's ready to go. We just have to heat it up. You can cut up, carrots, celery, anything like that. You have to be careful with some stuff, like cucumbers. They tend to go mushy if you cut them. So I usually do those just as I eat them, so they stay crunchy. But you can store them however you want. I prefer just sticking them in a baggie because then I have less dishes, and then sticking them in one big container. If you're going to be using them for lunches, this is one that I bought from Costco last week. They were on sale. It came in a 3-pack. It came with like a sandwich container, and then this is like actually an ice pack, I guess, and they snap together. So I figured they were good sizes to get your portions right, and this is something that my husband will use since he has to pack lunch and dinner pretty much, since we're on opposite schedules. So it really just comes down to how you live and what your preferences are. Everyone's going to be doing it a little bit different. So every week, every prep I do, so I do berries, oatmeal, corn, I steam vegetables. I always make fresh salsa. We eat a lot of Mexican food at our house, so salsa is a good flavoring for me.
Because I'm Mexican.
And my kids love it, so we always do fresh salsa. We do our barbecue meat, boiled eggs. And another one that I like to pre-do is turkey bacon. I like the turkey bacon, but I hate cooking it, so I'll cook it all at once just to get it out of the way because it smells my house up and it's messy and dirty. And so I cook the whole thing, and then I'll just put it in the fridge, and I can heat it up in the microwave as I eat it, or just eat it out of the fridge because it's bacon, and who doesn't like bacon? I'll eat it however I get it, really. So anyway, those are just some of the things that I do. If you don't shop at Costco, that I would actually recommend it, just because you really can get everything there in good bulk sizes. I usually go through Costco size berries twice a week. I eat them so much. So, but they're one of my only. I eat berries more than any of the other fruits, just because I prefer them. So, it seems like a lot if you're doing it for yourself, but you're eating enough and that you'll go through it. I haven't hardly wasted any food since I started this, and I'm shopping there all the time, probably because I work there, but anyway, those are some tips, and hopefully that helps someone, or if you have any questions, let me know. I'm not an expert. This is just some things that have worked for me. So anyway, thanks.